philosophy at the University of Messina and then got a doctorate in modern history at the University of Catania. Like doctorate, like PhD, something?
Yes, it is.
In 2003, she moved to Rome, where she started her activity as a writer, as an author of children's book, and her debut novel, Liani al Contrario, the Years in Reverse, was pronounced as one of the best Italian books of the 2010s. And her second novel, Farewell Ghost, Addio Fantasmi, Zbogom se ništa, also got a lot of awards. It was translated in Macedonian, and really people felt it really close to their hearts. How did it all start? Do you remember some moment that you realized that you wanted to be an author?
I was 7 years, and yes, and I decided not to become, and I loved writing, and I decided not to be a journalist because I wanted not to describe the world, but to become a writer, because I would like to invent a world. And I told that to my teacher, and I remember exactly that moment.
You want to create,
yes.
To be your own demiurge,
yes, exactly.
God creator?
Exactly, and this is what I think now also. No? I don't want just to describe what happens, I want always find a space for invention and imagination inside the reality.
Mm-hmm. How much history, your doctorate, modern history, helps you in recovering the things from the past? Because basically your book is about exploring the past in a more personal way, more family way. But how much, let's say, researching the history helps you, let's say, to put the things in the right mood, the right order, the right colors around it?
Well, after Farewell Ghost, I wrote another novel. It's out now in Italy, and it's something like an historical novel, and it's based on during the big earthquake in Messina, in Sicily. Messina is my city at the beginning of last century. So it was the first time I used the big history for my novel as a yes, and I'm wondering if my studies helped me or not. I think it helps to have a method to study, and then a method to write. And it was the same for Farewell Ghost. So I'm used to think to have always some part of me is thinking in the past, personal past or historical past, and yes, that can be helpful.
For Farewell Ghost, I think for our listeners of the podcast, a little background story. Ida is a woman in her 30s who one summer makes a trip from her home in Rome to Messina in Sicily to help her mother in sorting out the leftover things in preparation for the renovation of her childhood apartment. While there, she is forced to come to terms with the emptiness left by her dad's sudden disappearance when she was 13. So it's somehow like reliving the past. Do you think that we have Ida in each one of us somehow? Do you think that we relive our sentiments of the childhood?
Fortunately not, because the sentiment of Ida is pathological, is not normal, and and it's in relationship with their big loss, not a common loss, because her father was not dead, he was disappeared, and that point changed things, changed the way in which you can think about a person who is not more with you, no? Because if he's dead, you have a place where he rests in peace, and in this case she has no places, no peace for herself. So I think that's the reason, because of the novel. That's the beginning of the novel, and I don't think it's the same for everyone. It's that specific way of pain and of loss.
How about nostalgia? Is it a common thing between the writers, between the characters in your story also? Do you think that nostalgia has some sort of a way that we relive somehow our past? At least for me, I can say that now when the winter holidays are approaching, I don't feel the same thing that I felt when I was young, and when the Christmas tree was the symbol that will unify me, my mother, my father, and my brother together. And still, when I see a Christmas tree, I know that as long as there is a Christmas tree, there is a tranquility, there is happiness, there is joyness, and after that, everything goes its own way, separate way, sometimes
Yes.
solitude way of solitude.
Yes, this is the common way in which we think about this word nostalgia, and I can obviously understand what you mean, and I agree with you. But there is another way to think about this word. Nostalgia in old Greek is pain of returning.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, for example, what moves Ulysses in the Odyssey. No?
Yes,
So in my novel is this form of nostalgia more important, because Ida came back home and she doesn't feel joy, but just pain.
What about all the things from her childhood? Favorite books, favorite toys. They can maybe be a portal towards something that was a little bit or less happier.
Yes. No. Yes. Objects are in this novel very important, because they are completely black for Ida. They are problems, questions, because mother asked Ida, what do you want to think with our old things? And it becomes an existential question, not just what to do really do, what you want to really do with these objects, but who are you now? Who were you in the past? Who will be? So.
What about synesthesia? We touched a little bit about nostalgia, now about synesthesia. Again, at least for me, I don't like to sound like an egomaniac, egocentric in this podcast, but you know, sometimes the smells, the fumes from the past, maybe from a favorite dish, from a favorite pie, from a favorite pasta, from a favorite wine or something, favorite chocolate, it can bring a lot of memories. Let's hope that for a lot of the people they are usually happy one, the joyous one. But what about those fumes, those smells that reminds us of something bad, something that when we were repressed or oppressed, or when we were not feeling the best in our skin, as we are about to say. Synesthesia is sometimes a great thing. It can remind us, let's say, you heard on radio some oldie, some favorite song from the 80s, and you think, oh my God, or maybe from 2000s, like my favorite or my first excursion with my first boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., etc. How do those things relate to us as a synesthetic effect of mixing the senses?
It's interesting. I think we all have sometimes this feeling not to be in the right body, in the right skin, and in the right age. Sometimes, no. So you use for the second time a Greek word, so synesthesia also.
Well, they invented everything. We cannot.
So it's interesting. I think it's.
Don't worry, I have the melancholia and depression still. Don't worry, plenty of big words. Just kidding.
We can stop. But I think synesthesia could be an important word for my novel, for this novel. So, thank you.
Do you have any special ritual or custom or superstition that you are doing before writing? Okay, not superstition like, I don't know, calling the demons and the crows and everything, but maybe some sort of ritual that helps you more focus and then write to be more productive. Let's say we all know about people who get up early in the morning and write. Some of them really during the evening. Some of them get drunk. Some of them put rotten apple like Schiller.
So in the past I preferred to write in the morning, early in the morning, but now I have a baby of 6 months and it's impossible. So I just write when it's possible.
When it's sleeping,
Yes, when she sleeps, and so I can write. If I can choose, so I've written really everywhere, in hotels, flying, everywhere. But if I can choose, I prefer writing on my chair in my home with my 2 cats and silence. And no, I haven't particular ritual, just in case I have no inspirations. I use tarots, tarot cards.
Tarot cards,
Yes, I use tarot cards always. I have always with me now. Yes, I have about 30, 40 different tarots. Now I have that one. So when I'm not sure of the page of a word, I just look or choose a card and look, and then.
Oh, that's like
something.
So I was kind of right about a special ritual. That
do you know it?
No, I didn't look. Really, I didn't know. It was just
No, sorry.
I didn't knew that you had cards, so it was just a question. Yeah, it's a really interesting coincidence. Yeah, a really mysterious one. Do you think that your book Farewell Ghost could be, because I haven't read during the research that it was made into a movie, but it sounds that it could be really done into a motion picture.
So there's actually in Italy a theatrical piece from the book, and yes, and the dramaturg chose just to have in theater 2 characters, so Ida and her mother, and
that's
yes,
it.
The other we can hear the voices of the other, but just these 2
like
characters.
in absentia.
In absentia, yes, and it's beautiful in my opinion. The actresses are very good, and so I was thinking about the book, about the film, and yes, maybe something will be do. I don't know, but maybe it's possible that in the next years the book will be turned into a film.
That's great. Any other future plans about future books? Do you think that you have enough ideas that can be made into books? Yeah, made into books.
I wrote another novel after Farewell Goes, and many children books. And yes, next month it will be out another children book. And now I'm always writing something, a children book or a novel or a short story.
What is a bigger challenge, a children's book or let's say mysterious
children book?
Children books.
Yes, because I love writing children books, but I always don't know if children like, because when you write for adults, after the first and second novel, you know someone, you have some reader for you. But for children books it's different, because children grow up and change, and you have always new children and it's challenging.
Yeah, but the right age and everything. I think that the biggest compliment for somebody who writes a children's book is if he gets into the schools as assigned reading, you know,
Yes.
like when you know that you are part of the curriculum, like let's say Heart from Edmondo de Amicis. Like I was reading it, my brother who is 5 years younger than me, and my nephew who is around 20 years younger, they still have this Edmondo de Amicis. So then you know that you are actually part of the curriculum and that you did the job really well. Because for books for grown-ups, it's like, do you have the audience? Do people like you? Do they give you applause? Do they tap on your shoulder? You are great and everything. But the children, they, like you said, they grow up and nobody will say like, oh, you're the lady who wrote the book that I really cried when I was in middle school, or I don't know, primary school.
Did you cry with the Amishes?
Well, there were some of the stories, but I can easily cry. That's a different thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It was maybe a short but really full of info podcast, and hope you will enjoy the festival.
Yes, it's beautiful. A beautiful festival in a beautiful city. Yes, I really enjoyed. Also
coming from Italy
writers.
and to say that Skopje is a beautiful city, that's a real compliment. It takes a lot of guts to say that.
Of course, I'll do it, but you have to invite me again next year.
Yeah, definitely. For the new book. Thank you, Nadja.
Thank you so much.